brother wherever he ever had a pops and a mother. I was the product of a heated lover. Nobody knew how deep it screwed me. And since my pops ever knew me, my family didn't know what to do with me. Was I somebody they despised? Curious look in their eyes as if they wonder if I'm dead or alive. Oh, mama can't control me. Quit trying to save my soul. I wanna go with my homie. A ticket time bomb, ain't nobody fade me. Back in the 380 and think on the stage. Suck a scalper, but
this whole music thing was supposed to be fun, not all the stress.
Yeah, because, I mean, you look at situations and you see things differently. When you read magazines and you see everybody having fun, you think, okay, that's where I want to be. But once you get in it and you achieve the success that you want, it seems like that's when the player hating starts. You know, that's when everybody's like, well, it's not all that, he's not all that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when you're stagnated and you can't really move to another level, that's the only thing you can do is just complain or be jealous. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to get it myself. You know what I'm saying? I was in a situation where I would see somebody with certain things that I want and I would just make moves to get it myself.
Greetings and welcome back. It's your host, Gabe Morales. Today, we are going to cover the rise and fall of two major music producers, Marion Suge Knight and Sean Puffy Combs. Marion Suge Knight Jr. was born on April 19th, 1965, in Compton, California, as the son of Maxine and Marion Knight Sr. His moniker derives from a childhood name, Sugar Bear. He attended Linwood High School in nearby Linwood, California, where he was a football and track star, and graduated in 1983. From 1983 to 1985, he attended and played football at El Camino College. Then in 1985, he transferred to the University of Nevada in Las Vegas and played college football there for 2 years. Suge went on to be undrafted in the 1987 NFL draft, but was invited to the LA Rams training camp. Even though he was cut by the Rams during camp, he became a replacement player during the 1987 NFL player strike and played for 2 games in Rams uniform. After his short NFL career, Knight found work as a concert promoter and bodyguard for celebrities, including singer Bobby Brown. Suge was also known as claiming Mob Piru, although some Pirus in Compton said he was more of an associate than an active gangbanger. In 1989, Knight formed his own music publishing company, which was backed in part by dealing a lot of heroin out of Looters Park, according to Cynthia Nunn, who's considered one of the OG Pirus in Compton. His first big profit in the music business came when Vanilla Ice, real name Robert Van Winkle, agreed to sign over royalties from the smash hit Ice Ice Baby because the song included material allegedly written by Knight's client, Mario Johnson. Vanilla Ice, however, states that Johnson had nothing to do with the song, but he signed over the rights because Suge's bodyguards had his bodyguards outmanned and outgunned.
I had my bodyguards who had guns, and they had their people which had guns, and they had us outpowered and outnumbered.
Talking publicly about it for the first time, Van Winkle describes a terrifying night in his suite at a Beverly Hills hotel when he says Suge Knight showed up with 6 other men.
Roughed one of my bodyguards up. They roughed everybody else and my whole entourage up. Suge took me out on the balcony, started talking to me personally.
On the balcony?
On the balcony.
High above?
Like 15 floors. He had me look over the edge, show me how high I was up there.
According to rumor and according to Vanilla Ice, Knight and his bodyguard confronted him several times and even dangled him by his ankles off the 5th floor of a hotel balcony. But the only difference is Vanilla Ice claims that Knight only threatened to throw him off the balcony, and he quickly agreed to make it right, and the claim was officially resolved in court. Knight next signed West Coast hip-hop artist DJ Quick in the DOC, and eventually worked with NWA and Dr. Dre, who wanted to leave their label, Ruthless Records, that they felt was being mismanaged by Jerry Heller. This is portrayed in the movie Straight Outta Compton. Dre and DOC co-founded Death Row Records in 1991 in conjunction with Knight, and with the financial backing of big-time drug dealer Michael Harry O'Harris. And they vowed to make it the Motown of the 1990s. Initially, Suge met a lot of success with his artists, and it is said that a lot of funk went on at the Death Row studio. Eventually, Suge got into big beef with East Coast entrepreneur Sean Puff Daddy Combs, who had a lot of rappers on his Bad Boy label. And Knight insulted Combs and Bad Boy at the Source Awards in August 1995 by coming on stage and announcing,
"And one other thing I'd like to say, any artists out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star, I don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing. Come to Death Row.
That same year, Knight offered to post bail nearly $1.5 million for Tupac Shakur if the rapper agreed to sign with Death Row. Tupac agreed, and the stage was set for his 1996 double album, All Eyes on Me, and the Don Killuminati, The 7-Day Theory. Dr. Dre and many others became increasingly frustrated with Suge's behavior and violent reputation, which they felt was bad for business. In 1996, Suge and Tupac were involved in a scuffle at the MGM Hotel in Las Vegas at a Mike Tyson fight, whereby they assaulted Southside Compton Crip gang member Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. 3 hours later, someone shot into a BMW with Suge as the driver and Tupac as the passenger and fatally wounded Shakur and wounded Suge Knight. Dr. Dre left Death Row Records shortly before Shakur's death, followed by Snoop Dogg 2 years later, and the label rapidly declined without two of their biggest stars. Meanwhile, Suge continued his gangster antics and was in and out of jail and prison. On April 4th, 2006, Suge had to file bankruptcy due to civil litigation against him by Lydia Harris, wife of Harry O., who claimed to have been cheated out of a 50% stake at Death Row Records. And eventually, a federal judge ordered a bankruptcy trustee to take over Death Row Records, saying the record label had undergone a gross amount of mismanagement. Eventually, Suge had to sell his home in Malibu, as well as give up other property. On January 25, 2009, an auction was held for everything found in the Death Row Records office, including the Death Row Records electric chair that is featured as its emblem. In September 2018, Knight pled no contest to the voluntary manslaughter of a 2010 hit-and-run incident that happened at a burger stand in a parking lot in Compton, California. This resulted in the death of partial movie financier Terry Carter, co-founder with Ice Cube of Heavyweight Records. A dispute is said to have occurred when Suge found out that he would not be compensated and was being portrayed in a very negative light for the movie Straight Outta Compton, which was filmed in that city as well as in parts of Los Angeles. Former Blood and actor Clay Bone Sloan was on the set as an advisor. It is thought that Suge actually was aiming for Bone, who suffered a mangled foot and head injuries, but ran over Carter instead. Suge Knight's conviction, along with previous felonies, resulted in him being hit with the 3 strikes law. Suge Knight is eligible for parole in October 2034. Death Row Records was purchased by former label star Snoop Dogg in 2022. It was well known that Suge Knight had a major beef with Sean Love Combs, also known by his stage names Diddy, Puff Daddy, and P. Diddy. Combs was born in Harlem but raised in Mount Vernon, New York. Who was an American rapper, record producer, and record executive. In 1991, a stampede occurred at a charity event promoted by Diddy at the City College campus located in Harlem, New York, that resulted in the deaths of 9 people, and at least 29 others were injured after an impatient crowd tried to push their way into a City College gym to catch a game, which Boyz II Men, Run DMC, Jodeci, Heavy D, and Big Daddy Kane were playing in. He worked as a talent director at Uptown Records before founding his own record label, Bad Boy Records, in 1993. He first hit national fame when he signed Christopher Wallace, also known as Notorious B.I.G., for whom he served as a manager and hype man. He launched his clothing line, Sean John, in 1998. Combs was credited with the discovery and promotion of artists such as Mace, Mary J. Blige, and Usher. He won 3 Grammy Awards out of 13 nominations, 2 MTV Video Music Awards, and a Guinness World Record for being the most successful rap producer in 1997. Combs then signed more acts to Bad Boy, including Carl Thomas, Faith Evans, 112, Total, and Father MC. And his production team worked with Jodeci, Lil' Kim, TLC, Mariah Carey, Boyz II Men, Sisters with Voices, Aretha Franklin, and many others. Mace and the Lox joined Bad Boy just as a well-publicized rivalry between East Coast and West Coast rappers was just beginning. Combs and Wallace were criticized and parodied and mocked by Death Row Records executive Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur in multiple songs and interviews during the mid-1990s. In fact, many stated that Puffy was behind Tupac's murder, and many stated that Suge was behind Biggie's murder. Christopher Notorious B.I.G. Wallace's mother filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the Los Angeles Police Department, based in large part on evidence suggested by former LAPD detective Russell Poole. I actually knew Poole and conversed with him several times, trying to secure an interview with him. He ended up passing before we could get an interview together. In April of 2007, relatives of Wallace filed a second wrongful death lawsuit against the city of Los Angeles. The suit named two LAPD officers who were at the center of the Rampart scandal. That was Rafael Perez and Nino Durden, which I ran a corruption episode on this channel. Another name that came up during the lawsuit was David Mack, who was also part of the corruption at Rampart. According to Russell Poole, Suge Knight and David Mack, who's part of his security detail, conspired to kill Notorious B.I.G., Biggie Smalls, in Los Angeles on March 8, 1997, after a Soul Train award show. The show was hosted at the Peterson Automobile Museum, located on the west side of Los Angeles. Shortly after his death, Biggie's new release, Life After Death, hit #1 on the Billboard charts. Little did Biggie know when he recorded it that it would be a prophecy, and he became bigger than life after death. Songs like Hypnotize and More Money, More Problems. It also had Puffy Combs and Maze on the track. In December 1999, Combs' then girlfriend, Jennifer Lopez, and his protege, rapper Shine, were at Club New York in Times Square in Manhattan when gunfire broke out. The prosecutor said that the incident was sparked by an argument at the club between Combs and another club patron. After a police investigation, Combs and Shine were arrested for weapons violations and other charges. Combs was also charged with bribing his driver, Ordell Fenderson, to claim ownership of the gun. Combs' attorneys during the trial were Johnny Cochran and Benjamin Braffman, and Combs was eventually found not guilty on all charges, but Shine was convicted on 5 of his 8 charges and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Combs and Lopez broke up shortly after that incident. In March 2008, the LA Times claimed that Notorious B.I.G. and Combs orchestrated the 1994 robbery and shooting of Tupac. Dexter Isaac, an associate of record manager executive Jimmy Henchman, confessed in 2002 that he shot Tupac on Henchman's order. In his college days, Combs had quite a reputation for throwing large parties, some of which attracted up to 1,000 participants. The singing artist Usher, who lived with Combs for about a year in New York City when he was 13 years old, told Howard Stern in 2016 that Combs' lifestyle was pretty wild during that time period. Combs has been the subject of a number of sexual misconduct allegations over the years, but most famous was probably an incident that he had with his then girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in a hotel hallway, as seen here.
Both of you, it definitely is horrifying video, very disturbing to watch, and it's also garnering a lot of reaction. Now take a look at this video, and we do want to warn you that it is very difficult and horrifying to watch. This is after CNN released the video showing Diddy attacking his ex-girlfriend Cassie in a hotel hallway in 2016. Diddy has now shared a video on social media taking responsibility. The security video showed Diddy punching, kicking, and shoving Cassie, even throwing a vase at her. Cassie sued Diddy in November over sexual, physical, and emotional abuse. The suit was settled the next day.
Combs issued a video apology, saying that his actions were inexcusable.
I was up. I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Ventura filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against him for sexual assault, which was settled out of court. But the incident kicked off a slew of other allegations going back to 1991. Comedian Cat Williams, who personally I don't care for, as I believe his comedy is often obnoxious. For instance, during a show in November 2012 in Oakland, California, he engaged in a long, profanity-laced tirade with a heckler that got so out of control he had to be escorted off stage by his own security. And, closer to home for me, in December 2012, Williams was arrested in Seattle after he got into a dispute at a bar in the South Lake Union area of the city, and he was a no-show at the famous Paramount Theater located in downtown Seattle, and he's been arrested numerous other times. You can look that up on the internet if you're interested. Williams made some pretty strong claims surrounding Diddy and rival comedian Kevin Hart, as well as Usher, and sexual escapades with females. In March of 2024, several properties tied to Combs were raided by the Department of Homeland Security as part of an ongoing investigation. And in the wake of these allegations, multiple companies and brands disassociated themselves in any way from Sean Puffy Combs. He even had an honorary doctorate degree from Howard University revoked. Multiple other females also alleged that Combs raped them and abused them. April 2024, Combs' radio airplay on station decreased almost 90%, and his streaming figures were down by over 50%, as many wanted nothing to do with the name Sean Puffy Combs. Suge Knight ended up being convicted to prison as he pushed his luck too far, and now it seems the same fate of excessiveness, cockiness, and just plain out-of-control behavior will result in the same happening to Sean Love Combs. Before we go, I'd like to end with a positive message, as I usually do on most of my videos. Humility is the key to success. Successful people sometimes lose their way, as they often overindulge in the fruits of this success. Humility helps halt this arrogance and self-indulgence, being humble with people, being kind, and sharing your credit and wealth and friendship, helping them out when they're down, and also stay focused on your journey of success. This is Gabe Morales signing off for gangsters, cops, and politicians.